Good evening, it's good to see you again on 7Edition. I'm Berhad, and these are your headlines. Pakatan Harapan to conduct an honest and detailed postmortem following by-election defeat. Arul Kanda to be called as witness against Datuk Sri Najib. And 4 shot dead at football watch party in California. Assalamualaikum. Following the Tanjung PI by-election over the weekend, the Prime Minister today said a detailed and honest postmortem will be held at all party levels in Pakatan Harapan to identify the cause of the defeat. He said expected a defeat with not more than a 2,000 vote majority, but the official results, he said, showed a defeat by a 15,000 plus vote majority. Apart from that, he accepts the outcome of the by-election and thanked those who had worked hard during the by-election. This is the first time the Premier has spoken publicly about the by-election defeat since PH came into power.
Now, PKR President Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim said the frustration of the people as manifested through the Tanjung PI by-election must be understood by Pakatan Harapan. He also said at the Parliament lobby today that the outcome of the poll underscored the need for PH to assess the gravity of the situation as the people have spoken, and the ruling party must take wise steps to restore their confidence as the defeat doesn't involve the loss of support of just one particular race.
There is a swing among the Chinese voters, there's a swing among the Malay voters too. So it is, I don't believe in the race card. I think we need to truly understand the frustrations of our people, Malays and Chinese, Indians and the others. I think this is important. The message is for us to take stock. Kalau kita tak belajar dan tak tahu lagi, maknanya kita tak layak lagi dah memerintah.
On the demand for the dissolution of Parliament by certain quarters, Datuk Sri Anwar said losing 1 or 2 seats does not mean that the present government has lost, as PH still has the mandate to continue serving the people.
In the Dewan Rakyat today, Datuk Sri Dr. Wee Jek Seng officially returned to the Dewan Rakyat as he was sworn in as the Tanjung PI MP. The ceremony was done in front of Speaker Tan Sri Muhammad Arif Muhammad Yusof at 10 a.m. before the parliamentary session began. Datuk Sri Dr. Wee Jek Seng is the second MCA lawmaker in the Dewan Rakyat and is a former two-term Tanjung PI MP. He garnered a total of 25,466 votes against PH candidate Carmine Sardini, who received 10,380 votes, and 4 other candidates. The seat fell vacant after Deputy Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Bersatu's Datuk Dr. Muhammad Farid Muhammad Rafiq, died on September 21st due to heart complications. Meanwhile, during the Dewan Rakyat sitting earlier, MPs were told that the police are authorised to inspect a person's mobile phone at any time during the course of an investigation. Deputy Home Minister Datuk Muhammad Aziz Jaman said provisions of Section 233 of the Communications and Multimedia Act allows police to check such devices provided it is done with a valid reason. This also includes phone bugging or tapping in cases involving security. However, he also reminded the public to be aware of the Standard Operating Procedure (SOP) that comes with that right to prevent abuses.
Orang ramai kena tahu hak mereka, kena minta identiti pegawai ini untuk sebagai rekod mereka, dan kemudian jika mereka merasakan bahawa polis ini telah melanggar SOP yang ada, mereka boleh melakukan membuat report di mana-mana balai polis yang berdekatan. Dan jika mereka juga merasakan bahawa balai polis berdekatan itu mereka tidak mempunyai keyakinan, mereka sebenarnya boleh juga ke balai polis yang lain, termasuklah ke Bukit Taman untuk membuat laporan. Dan berkenaan dengan soalan jika ianya boleh dibawa ke IPCMC, sebenarnya ya, memang boleh.
He added authorities can use this provision to ensure public order, as it is an offence for a person to misuse telecommunications facilities or telecommunications services for purposes such as sending obscene messages, defamatory, false, threatening or malicious communications, or messages with intent to offend, abuse, threaten or arrest others. Through this section, any police officer may take action by reviewing any network facility or network service, including mobile phones, of persons suspected of committing an offence. On to the One Malaysia Development Berhad Audit Tampering trial. In a turn of events, the prosecution will call former 1MDB CEO Arul Kanda Kandasamy to the stand as a witness against former Prime Minister Datuk Sri Najib Tun Razak. Deputy Public Prosecutor Datuk Sri Gopal Sri Ram told the Kuala Lumpur High Court this today in his opening statement at the start of the trial. Datuk Sri Gopal revealed that the prosecution plans to invoke Section 63 of the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC Act and get Arul Kanda to testify on the prosecution's behalf. Datuk Sri Najib's defence was of course caught by surprise. Lawyer Tan Sri Muhammad Shafiq Abdullah, who is representing him, said this was unconstitutional and that he would address the matter at the right time. Meanwhile, Arul Kanda's lawyer, Dato' N. Sivanathan, also said he would apply to the trial judge to drop the charge against his client after Arul completes his testimony, should the prosecution invoke the provision. The 66-year-old former Premier is accused of ordering the 1MDB audit report to be tampered with before it was presented to the Public Accounts Committee in 2016. He is charged with using his office or position for gratification, for which he faces up to 20 years in jail and a fine if convicted. Arul Kanda is charged with abetting Datuk Sri Najib and faces the same penalties. At a separate Kuala Lumpur High Court, the trial of Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi over his 47 criminal breaches of trust, CBT, bribery and money laundering charges involving millions of ringgit of Yayasan Akal Budi funds also began today. This after Judge Colin Lawrence Sequeira dismissed the former Deputy Minister's application to challenge the constitutionality of the laws used to frame the charges against him. In throwing out Datuk Sri Zahid's bid, Sequeira said the application was premature as the trial has not commenced, after allowing a preliminary objection by the prosecution. Meanwhile, in her opening statement, Deputy Public Prosecutor DPP Datuk Raja Razela Rajatoran said the prosecution will prove that the Bagan Datuk MP had misappropriated 31 million ringgit of Yayasan Akal Budi funds, where not a single cent of the monies was used by the trustee of the charity foundation to benefit the poor. The prosecution would also establish that the accused during his tenure as the Home Minister had received bribery of 17 million ringgit and further 4.25 million of gratification for securing government contracts for several companies. It was also alleged that the accused had been involved in money laundering activities and had received approximately 65 million ringgit worth of checks from known and unknown individuals. At least 35 prosecution witnesses will be called to testify during the trial. The Segamat Sessions Court rejected a bail application by S. Thiran, who is accused of supporting and possessing items linked to the Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam LTTE Group. Judge Rasida Rosli said bail could not be given, especially involving cases of public interest and national security. The 38-year-old dispatch rider made the application for bail on grounds that he had undergone a surgery in July and would need 3 to 6 months to recover. Rasida said the Sessions Court did not have the power to decide on the bail application, as it was not under the jurisdiction of the court. December 19 was fixed for case management and review of the forensic report. Under the Penal Code, Thiran is facing up to 7 years in jail or a fine if convicted. The Attorney General's Chambers has directed the police to reopen investigations into the sudden death case of political aide Teo Beng Hock. Selangor Police Chief Datuk Nur Azam Jamaluddin said police have set up a task force comprising of Selangor and Bukit Aman police personnel to probe the case for wrongful confinement. In a statement, Datuk Nur Azam said the task force has recorded the statements from 5 witnesses, including Sri Kembangan Assemblyman Yen Yong Hian Wah and lawyer Manoharan Malayalam. They will also be calling writer Tricia Yeo to record her statement over an article which she wrote in the New Straits Times titled "Seeking Fresh Leads to Beng Hong's Death." Other witnesses, including those from the MACC, will also be called. The decision to reopen the case comes after the appeals court found Teo's fall from a building was caused by the unlawful actions of individuals, including MACC officers. Transport Minister Anthony Loke today announced that a special task force has been formed to help the Civil Aviation Authority of Malaysia, CAAM, regain the Category 1 status after being downgraded by the US Federal Aviation Administration last week. The task force will comprise of 8 members, headed by former Civil Aviation Authority Director General Datuk Kok Soo Chon.
The task force consists of qualified technical personnel and international experts in aviation and have expertise in the various fields of aviation, which will include 4 pilots, 3 engineers and 1 technical coordinator. With the objective of regaining Category 1 status, the task force will be reporting to me as a Minister of Transport and the authority members of CAAM on the progress of resolving all the assessments findings by FAA.
Speaking at a press conference, Loke said his ministry will address the 33 outstanding issues brought up by the US Federal Aviation Administration within 12 months. The task force will also be looking to increase CAAM's income by relooking into the fees and charges for using Malaysia's airspace so that better talent can be hired. Let's take a short breather, but when we returned, man grabs a free ride by hanging onto the back of a trailer. Stay with us for the details. I'm Ras Adibarazi and you stay with us on 7Edition. Several protesters have been arrested while trying to run from a Hong Kong university campus surrounded by police. A group of around 100 people tried to leave Polytechnic University but were met with tear gas and rubber bullets. Police have trapped up to 800 people inside the campus. This follows the overnight violent clashes during which protesters launched petrol bombs and arrows at police. It is the 3rd time protesters have tried to leave following a violent and fiery overnight standoff with police. In the past week, Polytechnic University has turned into a battleground as the long-running Hong Kong protests become more violent. It was reported that as many as 40 people on campus were injured and cut off from medical services. Meanwhile, the territory's High Court ruled that an emergency law invoked by the government last month to ban protesters from wearing face masks is unconstitutional. It stressed that the law was incompatible with the Basic Law, the mini-constitution under which Hong Kong returned to Chinese rule in 1997. Hong Kong leader Carrie Lam on October 4th invoked a rarely used colonial-era law to ban protesters from wearing face masks in a dramatic move intended to quell escalating violence in the city. It was the first time the emergency regulations ordinance was invoked in 52 years. Several Asian airlines have cut flights to Hong Kong over the coming weeks as anti-government protests in the city grow increasingly violent and disrupt daily life. Routes Online said latest schedules showed cancellations from PT Garuda Indonesia, India's SpiceJet, Malaysia's Air Asia Group Berhad, and the Philippines' PAL Holdings Inc. and Cebu Air Inc. The cuts come after Monday's violent protests, the unrest raging for almost 6 months, and an escalating Sino-US trade war has pushed the Asian financial hub into recession for the first time in a decade. On Monday, Routes Online showed Garuda has reduced weekly flights to Hong Kong to 4 from 21, through mid-December. SpiceJet has suspended its Mumbai-Hong Kong route through January 15th, and AirAsia has cut flights from Kuala Lumpur and Kota Kinabalu in December and January. In the US, at least 10 people were shot at a football watch party in Fresno, California, Sunday night, with 3 of them dying at the scene and a 4th person succumbing to his injuries at the hospital. Police said the victims were attending a family and friends gathering in the backyard of a home when an unknown suspect approached and opened fire. The slain victims were Asian men aged between 25 and 30. Meanwhile, the 6 injured are receiving treatment for non-life-threatening gunshot wounds. So far, no one is in custody in connection with the shooting. Police said there was no immediate indication that the victims knew the shooter or shooters, but it is very likely that it was targeted. The motive of the attack is also unknown. Now let's hop on to Clickbait, where we take a look at what's trending and making the rounds in the cyber world today. In a recent video that went viral on social media, a man gave a whole new meaning to the term hitchhiking as he latched himself to a moving trailer to get to his destination. The unidentified man, dressed only in jeans, was seen hanging onto the back end of a trailer nearby Jalan Kempas Lama, Johor. The video has raked in over 23,000 views. Take a look. The video of the incident was unclear in the beginning, and it seems like just another ordinary trailer on the road. But as the video went on, the man stepped down from the trailer and ran away as it approached a junction. One netizen commented that she did not notice that the person there until he jumped off the trailer, while others commented on his style and how he would have saved some money from spending on a bus fare from this attempt. Though the clip may look funny, it is important to highlight the dangers normally associated with hanging on to a moving vehicle. Just a reminder, life is not Hollywood after all. Oh well. Now updated as of 7 p.m. Here are the top trending topics and searches on the internet today. Hello again. The selling activity by foreign investors on Bursa Malaysia gained pace last week with 408.5 million ringgit of local equities last week. According to MIDF research analyst Adam M. Rahim, however, the week got off to a sluggish start as international funds offloaded 129.3 million ringgit of local equities last Monday. He said selling activity was triggered by violent protests in Hong Kong, which caused the Hang Seng Index to face its 4th biggest drop of the year. So far, November had seen a foreign net outflow of 594 million ringgit. Meanwhile, on a year-to-date basis, foreign funds had taken out almost 9 billion ringgit of local equities from Malaysia, making up 76.8% of last year's total foreign outflow of 11.69 billion. In terms of participation, foreign investors saw a 13.6% decline in average daily traded value to reach below 1 billion ringgit at 881.5 million ringgit. Risk on mood was tempered by Malaysia's third quarter of 2019 gross domestic product growth of 4.4% year-on-year, which was the weakest in a year. Saudi Arabia believes its giant state oil monopoly is worth as much as $1.7 trillion US. In a statement Sunday, Saudi Aramco said it was aiming to sell about 1.5% of its 200 billion shares in a partial privatization for between $8 and $8.53 each. That means Aramco, the most profitable company in the world, could be worth between $1.6 trillion and $1.7 trillion, making it also by far the world's most valuable company ahead of Apple. That wouldn't be the only record to fall if Aramco achieves the higher price at that level. The share sale would raise just over $25 billion, making it slightly bigger than Alibaba's 2014 debut on the New York Stock Exchange. Saudi Arabia is selling shares in Aramco for the first time as part of an economic diversification plan aimed at weaning the kingdom off oil. Bursa Malaysia rebounded from choppy trading earlier, with the key index closing at its intraday high today, buoyed by buying in selected heavyweights led by IHH Healthcare. At 5 p.m, the benchmark FBM KLCI rose 9.61 points to 1,604.36. On to stocks to watch. Sunway Construction Group Berhad was dragged into a court case recently by privately owned developer PNSB Akmas Berhad, claiming that structures of the LRT3 project currently under construction have trespassed into its property project, resulting in it suffering losses and damages. It is seeking special damages of 711.4 million ringgit, legal costs of 400,000 ringgit, and declarations, injunctions, orders and other reliefs the court deems fit. Next, MMC Corporation Berhad's overall container throughput for its ports is expected to be higher despite a slowdown in Malaysia's trade. The reason being the contraction in Malaysia's trade figures for the third quarter of 2019 were caused mainly by electric and electronics exports, which are normally transported via air freight. And last but not least, the Health Minister, announced that Pharma Niaga will act as the interim concessionaire to distribute drugs and medical supplies for an additional 25 months. The news come with no surprise. With a 25-month extension, HLG Research stressed that earnings visibility remains intact for financial year 2019 to 2021, as Pharma Niaga will be operating under the same current terms.